Folks, I've got with me a very distinguished human being. If you recognize his face, his stage name is Watermelon Slim, but he goes by Bill Holmans. He's born in 1945, if I remember correctly. 49. So he's younger than I gave him, which is a good thing. Slim, you've been active. I still can't believe how long you've been active. I mean, all the projects that you're participating on with the Heavy Drinkers and a new album that you released recently. You're just an amazing dynamo.
Well, I'm actually slowing down, Yanni.
Okay.
I was the most active year I ever had was 2008, the year we had the real estate bubble bust here. I played 182 shows that year, and I was on the road for the majority of days of the year.
Okay.
Now, I've got 6 gigs this month. I've got 3 of them yet to play.
Okay.
And I'm not particularly active, but there's a strategy in that. Ever since COVID struck back in 2020, my career has been somewhat curtailed. And
Okay.
it's been that way particularly because I have a tax strategy. I don't want at any time to make enough money that I will have to pay federal income taxes. The way it works in America is when you're a man filing singly and getting Social Security, you can't let your Social Security and your earned income equal more than a certain point, which is at this point $25,000, or else you have to file for taxes. And so far, the last time I had to file for taxes was 2019, because then I actually earned $19,000 that year and had Social Security putting me over my limit. Since then, I have made very sure that I have not made enough money to add Social Security and earn income together and have to file.
Well, we're glad that the IRS isn't on your tail. At the very least, you're giving yourself some form of degree of freedom, which is a good thing.
Oh yeah, luckily they haven't been on my tail, so they haven't gotten in touch with me, even though I have not filed for income tax. This is the 7th year I have not filed, and if they were on my tail, they'd have let me know. But they know I'm just not earning enough money.
Okay.
To do it, and they're cool with that.
Okay, well, folks, you heard it from a very wise gentleman. Slim, the first time that we met, it was in Fredericton at the Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival. You were staying at a hotel, and I went and spent 3 hours interviewing you originally then. And then we went down to the dining room. You wanted fish. You ordered a plate of fish. And then you were being brought to the venue site with another Thériault that was your driver at the time. But I want the people to know a little bit more, because those interviews, that particular interview is way back in time.
Way back in time.
Yeah, but I'll single it out. You've been playing succinctly since you actually landed in the hospital after falling off the flatbed of your truck while cleaning it off during winter, if I remember correctly.
I've been utterly recovered from that. I'm good and spry, and now that I'm 77 years old, well, I thank God for my being still able to get out and do the heavy work that my voluntary community service requires.
Okay.
Now, you say, what's a voluntary community service? I've been washing dishes for the Bluesberry Cafe and doing all of the heavy work that needs done now for 12 years.
Wow.
And I'm proud to do that. I don't take any, as part of my strategy, I don't take any money for doing that kind of work. And it's all right.
Yeah, kind-hearted soul you are. That's what you are. Folks, I'm going to bring him back to the conversation, but you told me that you had fallen off the flatbed, and that started your journey into the blues. Because while you were in the hospital in traction, one of your friends brought you a guitar, and you started picking at it and started to learn how you could use it to become a bluesman.
You're talking about when I was in Vietnam. Now I get it. No, I wasn't. I wasn't injured. I did fall off something, but I wasn't injured. That wasn't why I was in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
I was in the hospital for some disease that I caught in the course of my service in Vietnam in January 1970, and I did start to learn the guitar in Cam Ranh Bay, Vietnam. That's where I started.
So you brought your blues back from Vietnam.
Did that.
Because I know that you've been active on the music scene when it comes to your albums. I mean, the first album that I remember listening to was No Paid Holidays. That's where my journey started for your career. And then I continued listening and looking at what you had. I mean, you've got umpteenth amount of albums that are currently in the bag, so to speak, that you've created. But you were, if I remember my time of seeing you on stage, you had an Acadian flag, small one. You had a Canadian flag right next to the Acadian flag.
Vive le Canada! J'aime le Canada tout entier. I'm absolutely great with Canada. And as you can hear, I'm completely bilingual in Canada.
Which is, you're one of the few.
Not many people want to bother. But I am so on the side of Canada. I was so aggravated to see our so-called president so disrespect Trudeau and the entire nation of Canada. You are our greatest, closest ally. Canada fought with America at D-Day against the Nazis. And I myself have fought the Nazis, and I just, I'm so grateful to have been able to travel so extensively as I have in Canada. I have played in every province adjoining the United States, plus Nova Scotia.
Oh, nice.
At 8 provinces, I have played all the way across the country from BC all the way to Nova Scotia.
Well, that's good. That makes you a well-known name and a well-known personage. So you play the guitar. I know that you developed your own styling of slide.
Left-handed and backwards.
Yeah, and you sing as well, and you do it either a cappella or you do it with your guitars. Now, I want to talk about On the Edge But in the Groove, which is your best album ever.
My most recent record. This is what's on now, y'all.
Yeah, and it was released April 3rd. It's got umpteenth amount of tracks, but there is a lot of information on this particular album that is fun to listen to. Because you were doing the 300 Miles in the Smokestack Lightning, Two Trains, Gypsy Woman, Take My Mother Home. Those are all titles that you had. But I'm trying to remember when you actually... before that it was the Bluesland Theme Park album?
Yes, that was with Rob Robinson, known as Heavy Drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen him take a drink in my entire career with him.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the album where you sang about the what's it called? I can't remember the name of the song. It's a song that many people do a cappella, and it's about a ship that you're a part of the crew, and then you're leaving from Halifax. And
that was a Stan Rogers song, and it's called Barrett's Privateers.
Yes.
Oh, the year was 1778. I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. A letter of marque came from the king, the scummiest vessel I'd ever seen. And then I have to say, God damn them all. I won't say God damn any more than once on the radio.
But that's okay. That's a classic in regards to how many people know it by heart and how many people do it. So
it's more. It is just more of my love for Canada, because Stan Rogers, as far as I'm concerned, and you're aware of the tragic and heroic end of Stan Rogers, right?
Sadly, I'm one that probably doesn't know, because I haven't delved yet.
In 1984, Stan Rogers, the greatest Canadian songwriter as far as I'm concerned, he wrote songs bigger than himself. He was a very big man, but wrote songs bigger than himself. In 1984, the plane took off from Toronto. And soon after it had taken off, I don't know where he was headed for, but soon after the plane took off, it caught fire. Somehow, the pilots got the plane back on the ground, and by then it was burning pretty well. You could see something was going to explode pretty soon. But Stan Rogers, at no thought of his own safety, stood in the escape hatch and tossed 10 or 12 people from that plane.
Okay.
Before the plane actually
blew
exploded and killed him and everybody else that was still remaining on the plane. He is, as far as I know, Stan Rogers is a national Canadian hero, and he's always been a hero to me. The end of the story is that his son was 4 years old when his father lost his life. Excuse me. Spam call. His son was 4 years old, and I was so honored to have him singing as part of a male vocal group in 2016 when I made my record in Winnipeg with all Canadians. I was the only American person in the whole thing. The name of the record was Golden Boy, and I had no idea of the Golden Boy on the top of the Winnipeg Capitol until I didn't know about it until after I was told about it, after I'd already named the record Golden Boy.
Really?
So my recording history with Canada has been, well, it's been great. I'll always want to come back to Canada if I can to work.
You're always welcome. I mean, you might as well be called an honorary Canadian because you visited us more than once.
I've always thought of it. I visited every time I had a chance, and I did. I was given a Maple Award in 2007 as Best International Artist.
Which
So I've actually even been awarded by Canada.
it's well rewarded too. So Slim, tell me about the album On the Edge of But in the Groove. It was released in April, but I'd like to know when you decided to actually start processing to sit down and record.
This was a plan that Massimo Bevilacqua, my Italian tour organizer, il mio organizzatore, and I do speak some Italian because I've spent so much time in Italy.
Okay.
He and I were planning this for months before January of this year, and he brought me to Velletri, which is a town in Italy, where I met Simone Schifoni, who is the piano player that you can hear on several cuts on this record. He is a monstrous piano player, and he can play drums and piano at the same time. I've never seen such a musician. And I'm just so grateful for having been able to come to Italy and do what that album represents. I will tell you that the inside of the record, you've opened it up and you see a picture of me at the British cemetery in Anzio. Anzio was one of the bloodiest battles of the entire war. Almost 4,000 Brits and almost 8,000 Americans gave their lives in that battle, pushing the Nazis back up the peninsula and to their eventual defeat. And what you see me doing in that record, if you've got a copy of it, you can show them, is playing taps at the British cemetery, which is it's just so important. Order arms. I didn't do much as a soldier. My discharge is honorable, and I did volunteer for Vietnam, but I didn't do a great deal there. Nonetheless, I am proud to be a veteran of that service, even though the war itself was a bad thing for America, is all I can tell you.
Yeah. I think that the Canadians know the hardships that happened with that particular war. So the album itself, you went back. This is in Italy, so you met the pianist, and I'm assuming that you guys sat down in the recording studio to actually do the album.
Oh yeah, we sat down in his recording studio, and besides that, Simone, he came out and played several shows with me in always full houses when I got there. I'm very grateful to Italy for having listened eagerly to who I was and what I am now. And Massimo also is a fine musician. But Simone Schifoni is as good a blues piano player as anybody would ever want to play with.
Well, I'm glad that you made this album because it highlights your massive career. I mean, you've got over 10 albums that were released in the period
14.
of... There we go.
14 total.
14 total albums that you released that are stupendous, to say the least.
And 4 DVDs. You know, but nobody makes DVDs anymore.
Oh, well, DVDs are they're fun to watch. I mean, Eric Clapton did them. Henrik Freischlader, the blues guitarist from Germany, also made some. I mean, it all depends.
But nobody does them anymore.
Really?
Not in America. Let me put a caveat on the whole thing. In America, the business has gotten completely digital and non-visual, and nobody ever pays me anything for doing stuff. Doing music. I get paid by the people that I'm sitting on their stage. I almost always get paid.
Okay.
But not for the distribution business to people.
Okay.
I am at the present time. I am the author of a book that's a gigantic book that's coming out or has come out. So my publisher says to sell, and it is me having covered the Russian invasion of Ukraine since hours before the tanks crossed the line into Ukraine.
Okay.
And besides that, the misadventures of our current president, who I've already castigated for not being nice to freaking Trudeau.
Yeah, well, that was then. Now we have Jim Carney as our prime minister now, and he's handling things as best as possible because he's
doing the best he can. Carney's doing the best he can.
Well, I mean, with everybody that seems to, mostly the U.S. giving him grief, he's still pushing to actually get what was supposed to be in place long ago, that got destroyed, and put everyone in topsy-turvy. So Jim, from what I've been told by a friend who follows Canadian economy, is probably the best prime minister that we have right now, due to the fact that he's already been through thick and thin for the economy here in Canada, and he knows what's good and what's bad. He does have certain people that don't necessarily agree, like all political parties, but he does the backstroke and
hey, vive Carney, sans doute.
So apart from all that you've been through, all the things that you're doing, your gigs that are coming up, I mean, do you take time to do any particular hobbies for yourself?
Yeah, I don't take enough time to do the one I should be doing some more, and that would be fishing. I am a fisherman. I won't call myself a master, but I've got 60-some years of experience at it. I caught my first big bass at 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
In the Everglades. I caught a bass that was that big in the Everglades. It took me half an hour to get that bass in.
He tired him out.
We never did even weigh him, but I figure he was a 7 or 8 pound bass.
Enough to give an 8-year-old boy a big meal for 5 days.
Yeah. Well, I knew I couldn't. We, in fact, had to leave it with our hosts because we were, that very day that I was out there fishing was the time I was there with my grandmother.
Okay.
And that was the day we had to take off back up toward North Carolina, which is where I was living.
Okay. And currently, where are you living now?
I live in Clarksville, Mississippi, the home of the blues.
The best place ever. And to regale our audience, how did you come by the name of Watermelon Slim?
What an often told tale. I have been, well, I've been a farmer. I'm about down to just being a gardener at this point. I don't have enough ground to call myself a farmer, but I grow a lot of food crop. This year I've got turnip greens, potatoes, cucumbers. Only seven plants of tomatoes because I've been losing sun exposure steadily since I've been living in this place.
Okay.
So I can't grow a full crop of tomatoes anymore. There's just not enough sun. Okay. And cucumbers and potatoes both work better with, they can go ahead and have less sun exposure.
Yeah, they're shade tolerant. So
that's one of the things that I do is garden.
Okay.
Now to get back to Watermelon Slim though. In 1980, I was doing my first attempt at actually farming.
Okay.
And I was standing in the middle of a field of watermelons that I had grown. It was my first crop of watermelons, and it was great. I was growing 25, 30-pound watermelons. And so it was about 105 degrees outside. It was the hottest year in Oklahoma since the Dust Bowl.
Oof.
And no, you Canadians don't worry about that stuff. No. But for some reason or other, and all I'm wearing was a pair of cut-off overalls, and for some reason or other, I went in my pocket and I pulled out a harmonica, and it was a D harmonica, just like this one here. And I have no idea why I had it in my pocket since I was out farming in my farm clothes. But I looked, at the time I was actually eating a piece of watermelon for hydration. It was so dry, my creek was almost dry, and I had cut into a piece of one of my watermelons, and I was sitting eating watermelon. Well, I looked at the piece of watermelon, and I looked at this harmonica that I had in my hand, and suddenly, like Paul on the Damascus Road, thou art no longer Saul, but Paul. I was raised in the church. I'm a religious person.
Okay, well that's good.
But I looked at these two things, and suddenly I knew that I had a blues name. There was Magic Slim and Memphis Slim and Bumblebee Slim and Madison Slim. There was a bunch of Slims, but I knew just as sure as shooting that there was no Watermelon Slim yet. And I became Watermelon Slim, so I've been that now for 46 years.
Which is fun because the name makes me smile every time that I say your name or think about you.
I hope everybody does, too.
But one thing I failed to mention during the interview, you started, you do harmonica, you sing, you play your guitar the way that you made it, and you make it sing. But when did you start playing the harmonica? Was it much earlier than the guitar?
1959.
Okay.
So I've been playing harmonica for 6 to 7 years.
And in regards to the blues idols, is there a particular blues album?
Let me say this. I
Okay.
first heard the blues,
Yeah.
not even knowing the word, not even knowing what it was,
Okay.
in 1954,
Okay.
when I was 72 years, when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So I've actually heard it 72 years ago, by being sung in my own house by a black woman named Beulah Huggins, who was taking care of me and my little brother, and cleaning and cooking and doing the things, you know, that a servant does in the house of somebody that can afford to pay him.
Okay.
You know, and she'd be singing, "Oh, my mama don't allow me to scout all night long." She'd be singing what turned out later, when I got a record, she'd be singing John Lee Hooker's song.
Wow.
And so the first blues I ever heard, not knowing what blues was, but just hearing the music, was John Lee Hooker.
What an influence.
And I got the chance one time to actually sit in and play with John Lee Hooker. I was just a wannabe, but I was 6 months back from Vietnam in Boston, Massachusetts, and I happened to see his name on a marquee. So I went and investigated that, and he asked. I had a guitar with me, and he asked me to. I didn't play the guitar though. He asked me to come sit in with him and his band.
Okay.
And sure enough, I did. I sat in for about 3 songs. And I was a wannabe, like I say. I didn't know as much, maybe even as I thought I did. But I did. He treated me with great respect, and eventually said my name, and I got off the stage.
Okay. So between the butler that you had that raised you and your brother, that sang the song that you mentioned that you didn't know if it was blues or not at the time.
Right.
Is there a particular artist that you had as an idol other than?
Since then, let's see, who really was idol for me? Well, when I finally figured out who John Lee Hooker was and where his music was, I was also listening to the Beatles and the Stones.
Okay.
And the Beatles and the Animals.
Okay.
The Beatles and the Stones and the Animals were the 3 English groups that really, they helped revive the blues in America.
That's true. Yeah.
And so I'd be listening to those 3 groups all the time, and not just the blues, but all the good music that the Beatles did, all the distinctive music that they did. Same goes for the other 2, but the Beatles had to be my number 1.
Now, out of everything that you've experienced, because you've been around and you've been about and you've met people, is there a particular memorable meeting with a blues man at all that you recall?
Well, yeah, I was on my first honeymoon. My first wife, we were in Paris in 1983. It is, in fact, you've asked me about this record. Well, on the title song, "On the Edge but in the Groove," I note that in 1983, I was invited in to play in Paris by champion Jack Dupree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he, I played for an entire hour set with champion Jack. And he's a very laughing, a jovial man, and I know he was laughing at me a few times. I was not quite as much the wannabe as I was back in 1970.
Okay.
I had some exposure, but I was still, I was still a learning man about the blues and about the music.
Okay, so you're still green behind the ears.
I was, and Champion Jack had me up for a whole freaking hour. And then when I left, the most amazing thing, when I left the stage and went to take a pee,
Mm-hmm.
In the corridor going to the restroom, I ran across Memphis Slim.
Oof.
Who was about 6'7", I don't know, a huge man, Memphis Slim was. And then me and my wife eventually took off. We went back to the hotel and we did what honeymooning couples do.
Okay.
We did a lot of that.
Oh, so you've had fun. I mean, fun is still out there for you, and I know that.
Oh, it is. I'm having fun. I'm having fun now. Just the fact that gentlemen like yourself are eager to hear about this spotted career that I have. I've never spent any time in prison.
Which is good.
But I will say that especially over the years right after Vietnam, I'm not sure I really cared if I lived till I was 30. And I was very peripherally involved with crime.
Okay.
And I got out of it. The title song of my record, The Wheelman, that actually got a Blues Music Award here in the United States. The title song of that is it's what I was doing.
You were the wheelman.
And how I got out of it, and what I took along. And it's called The Wheelman because I can drive any damn thing that anybody wants to put me in. Do it as fast as you want and as safe as you want.
Wow.
I am a professional driver. I'm retired from my last professional driving job, but I am a professional driver, and I can drive any damn thing anybody wants to.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. If I ever need a drive, I know who to call.
Big 10-4 if you're in America, 10-4, yes, sure. I've done, I don't know that I actually ever made 1 million commercial miles. I figured probably more like 700,000 commercial miles. A lot of it was in the moving business.
Okay.
If things have been taken out of houses, brought downstairs, and put back up in the next place, anything you got, I've moved it. I figure I couldn't count them carefully, but somewhere over 50 pianos I was responsible for moving, and I was always the lead guy. I wasn't the biggest guy, but I was the guy that made sure everybody knew what they were doing and knew what the other was doing, so that we don't drop stuff on,
That's a good thing. The folks, there is a song that is kind of fun to listen to, and I think it's from the No Paid Holidays album.
is one of my favorite records, and I don't even have an unplayed archival copy of that at this point. One thing everybody has to understand, all my music, except for what you're holding, the On the Edge but in the Groove, and the Heavy Drunk record, Bluesman Theme Park, everything before that is out of print and out of stock.
Oh, wow.
That you cannot get Watermelon Slim records in the United States, because CDs, because we here in the United States don't make CD players anymore.
You see, you can get them, but you have to look for. Sorry, you have to look for the. You can probably find it on Etsy. You can probably find it on eBay. You can probably find it on Amazon.
You could, maybe, but you can't get it from out of a record store, because record stores just don't exist anymore.
Well, no, that's the thing. I remember my secondhand record store was the biggest place that I actually went and sourced my material on CDs. And I'd spend, oh God, I didn't have a budget because I was doing volunteer. I still am. So my money is what pays for my own time and effort and gas.
Right on.
When I went to the Urban Sound Exchange, which was the name of the franchise, they had a dog with a disc in his mouth as a sign. And every time that I went in there, they knew me by name, and I picked out all the music that I wanted to listen to, and I'd usually go up with stacks that looked like big boxes. So I'd end up with 50 albums that I actually sat at the counter. They had 3 or 4 record players on the go, and I'd always be listening to each one. And then I'd discard the ones that I really didn't want, buy the ones that I really wanted. The one that I didn't buy that I regret is bluesman that went to I think it's called Mongolian Blues, the name of the album, and it's him singing the same way as the people that he was singing with. He earned diatonic throat singing, which blew my mind.
Oh yeah, I have heard Eskimos do that.
Yeah, and he I think he died from throat cancer, and that was one of the reasons why he decided to do this. But
I met James Cotton way back in night. There was another. You asked me about icons, about people that I was thinking about. Highest. I met James Cotton in 1973 in Boston, and he was over. He was a great harp player, and I was there to listen to him play harp. The very first thing James Cotton ever said to me was, "Go get me some hash." And I don't have any idea why he knew that I might be able to accomplish that, but I could. And we met each other off and on and off and on. The last time I hung out with James was in West Virginia, after the time that he had his cancer.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to play anymore, but he could still sing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't very long before he passed. So he was one of my main people.
I met him personally. It was the second year of the Dutch Mason Blues Festival over in Nova Scotia, close to Pictou or Truro. And James was part of the event that evening. He was on stage with Monkey Junk, if you know the band, a Canadian blues
Heard
trio.
of 'em, yeah.
Yeah, and they were on stage. Steve Mariner, the lead man, was being accoladed by James. James absolutely loved what he was doing because Steve is a harp player and a guitarist and a singer. And he's got solo material out now, but with the trio, they were on stage, and James was sitting on a seat. They brought up a chair, and he was waving his white handkerchief around and hooping to actually encourage the band. But later on, after that was done, he was sitting in his trailer, and I went and I gave him my hand, and I thanked him so much for everything that he shared with us.
It's so personal, it is so very personal.
Yeah, and the sacrifices that he made, and I wished him well. And unfortunately, I'd say probably 6 months after he passed.
I had a long acquaintance with Howlin' Wolf's band leader, Eddie Shaw.
Okay.
I first met him in 1978. I never met the Wolf, but I first met Eddie Shaw, who was his band leader in 78 in a little town up near Canada called Potsdam, New York. And it wasn't more than 40 or 50 miles from Canada. And over the years, we ran into each other on the trail, you might say, on the music trail. And the last time I actually played with Eddie, actually, he came and played with my band at that point. And it was 2000 I'm going to say 2008 or 2009.
Okay.
And he was always, he was one of my heroes too. He not only could he run an entire band, which had, the people that I saw first was Hubert Sumlin and Chico Chisholm, the drummer, and Eddie, and I'm trying to think of the and Big Walter Horton on harmonica, I got to hear some of the very best people in some of the most unlikely places,
Well,
I'm very grateful to not just the great musicians that I got to play with, but to the people that were listening to us.
well, that's good. I mean, some of the most surprising moments are usually in the most surprising places.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Let's bring something here. This, I know. Talking about icons. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this was Earring George Mayweather.
Oh.
He was one of Muddy Waters' friends. He came out of Montgomery and moved up to the north in the Great Black Migration after World War II.
Okay.
And so George was living in Boston by the time I first met him in 1987, and he was a drinker. There's no question about it. He was a drinker.
Okay.
But he was also somebody. He was my fishing buddy. We went out and fishing for bass in the Charles River. And the last time I had anything to do with George, we went all the way back to Montgomery, where he picked up his last automobile that I know of. He was so illiterate that he couldn't even ever have a driver's license or or insurance or anything, but he'd been driving for many years without all of that. Me and Washtub Robbie Phillips went to his grave 10 years after he passed, and we sang music on his grave. That's one of the things that I do, Nick. At this point in time, I've been doing a lot. I say a lot, more than half a dozen funerals and memorials. We had a man here named Red Payton that was the owner of the iconic juke joint here in Clarksdale.
Mm-hmm.
And when he died, his family, his son, who is now our mayor, honored me by having me sing at Red's funeral. I sang the song that Fred McDowell showed me decades before that. Keep your lamp all trimmed and burning. Keep your lamp all trimmed and burning. Keep your lamp all trimmed and burning. See what the Lord done. And I've been singing that for a lot of people these days.
Wow.
It's a rite of passage, we would call it. You know, I'm now, well, I'm well way on down the road, and I have bought my grave plot, and I have bought my gravestone, and I'll be buried right here in Clarksdale on Highway 61. I've been singing the song about 61 forever since I came back from Vietnam. It was the actual song about 61 was the second song I ever sang in Vietnam while I was recovering. Second song I ever tried to play on the guitar. Now, I won't go into the whole story of how I came to get my first guitar, but I'll tell you this: it was a good thing I spoke French, because the old Vietnamese man that sold me that guitar did not speak English. So I asked him, "Combien ça coûte?" I see this guitar sitting in a corner, the nastiest old guitar you ever saw, but it still had 6 strings on it. And I said, just like an inspiration, well, if I'm ever going to learn to play guitar, I'm going to start now. And I did. They wouldn't, the Army wouldn't let me take it home with me.
No.
They were bad about that, because there was a lot of people taking drugs home in their souvenirs.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to do that, but they wouldn't let me bring my guitar back on the plane, on the Freedom Bird.
When you do your songs, when you started writing your songs, did you use the guitar or the harmonica?
I started writing in certainly the first year or two I was back. I'm trying to think, what did I actually... I made my first record in 1972 when I was 2 years back home.
Okay.
And I wrote a couple of songs. That would have been on Merry Air Brakes. I don't know if you've got Merry Air Brakes. That was the very first record I ever made.
I don't think I do. I think the only one I have is Watermelon Slim.
If I've got a copy of Merry Air Brakes to show you here. I've got a huge amount of records. You're looking right here at all different records that I've made, but I don't see If you'll give me 30 or 40 seconds, I can go and look and see if I can find a copy of my very first record. I might be able to.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. This is not the original cover for this record, Merry Air Breaks.
Okay.
I owned a bus that I got from a friend of Ken Kesey, and it was an old school bus, but it had full air brakes on it.
Okay.
So I called it Merry Air Brakes because Ken Kesey was the leader of the Merry Pranksters, you know. And so there it is. You asked me about songs that I'd written. I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs on this record with 9.5 songs on it. And I wrote these songs before all of them before I actually got into the recording studio in 1972. That's me. That's the very
younger version.
The very youngest photo that was ever taken of me, I think, that still exists. Part of the thing, I didn't want people taking pictures of me because I was
shy.
I was when I was young.
Okay.
But my hair is still the same color now as it was then, except I don't have quite as much of it anymore.
Well, you still wear it well, regardless. So, last question that I'd like to ask, because we've covered a lot of material, which I'm grateful for. What's your favorite food dish? And by that, I'll explain. If I gave you a buffet of different foods, what would you be picking if it was available right in front of your eyes?
Well, I'll tell you this. Beginning in 1970s, I started becoming a vegetarian. I wasn't always a vegetarian all the way through my life. But I have, at this point, I've certainly been a vegetarian since something before COVID. And I probably, going back all the way into my childhood, I'd say the very most exciting food that I ever ate and worked with was lobster. And nowadays, well, for many years, I reconsidered my love of lobster because I've got this vision in my head of me putting the lobster into the boiling pot of water, and I know it was looking at me. So I will never eat anything that walks or flies. If I catch a fish, I'll probably eat it, and I like shrimp because I know shrimp's not going to feel anything when it You know, you don't have to kill a shrimp. I don't want to kill anything anymore.
Well, I don't blame you.
And so I don't eat beef or pork or birds, chicken or ducks or whatever. I don't eat all these things. I stopped years ago.
Okay.
But I do love various vegetables. I'm growing, as I say, out here. I got turnip greens. I got potatoes. I got cucumbers. Wish I had. Yeah, I'll show you a cucumber. Check this stuff out. Check this out. I got some stuff inside right now. Here's a view of my crop. This year's crop.
An English cucumber.
Yeah, these are
Actually, no, that's a garden cucumber.
They're pickling cubes, you know.
Okay.
I grew a cube last year. It weighed about 3.5 pounds. It was 3 and some. It was this long. not this long, but this long.
Okay.
And a big round is that.
Yeah, that can happen.
So I gave. It's what happens when you don't see it to start with. I gave a lady here that gigantic cucumber, and she said, "Oh, we'll feed the whole bunch with that." So I saw her about 4 or 5 days later, and I said, "Well, I hope that didn't turn bitter on you. You know, some people say a cube, you let it go too long, it's going to be bitter." But she said, "No, it tasted just like it should." So that's what I do. You know, I'm a gardener. I couldn't be a farmer anymore, but I can remember when I'd get bushels of these.
Oh, nice.
Take them and sell them.
Mm. Well, so
no, I don't sell anything at this point. I give away all my food.
Well, that's because your soul and heart are in the right place.
That's about it. Yeah. You know, I give away what I can.
Yeah. You're definitely not a sinner, and you'd be able to sing about the Book of Ecclesiastes and Barrel House Blues, but I mean, you're just a saint. You've gone through many things in your life. You've shown yourself.
I have survived so many things in my life.
There's that, but you've also shared so much and sacrificed so much to actually give us pieces of your memory to remember you by. And I have to say that this interview was very much a pleasure and very much wanted, because I remember...
I've been looking forward to it ever since back last month, you know, or May or April. I forget when we first got in touch.
Yeah, almost like 2 months ago. Because I remember you said that your work schedule was just perfect. You wouldn't be working on Wednesday, so you'd be able to actually take time to do the interview. Well, thank you so much. And if the graces are upon us, that you'll hopefully come back to New Brunswick, I look forward to possibly meeting you again in person and giving you a big hug.
Well, I can look forward a little bit to getting myself back in Canada, but you know, to be utterly honest, I don't know when that will be.
Okay.
As I said when I was beginning, I'm really trying not to travel as much as I did.
Okay.
this one trip to Italy this year will probably be the only trip I take out of the country. I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit worried that if I go out of the country and suddenly Trump does invade Greenland, that I'm not going to be able to get back in. They won't let somebody with the dossier that I have come back.
Yeah, well, Canada's probably going to give you a better chance.
And Canada, I would be just fine if I couldn't come back from Canada. I'd stay there, by God.
Okay, well, Slim, thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful evening.
No, I'm going to. Boy, I'm relieved that we eventually technologically put ourselves together, Yannick.
Yeah, technological troubles are always on the horizon. But we managed to pull through. We managed to find the many ways of.
So we're recording this. This isn't going live, right? We're recording this, and you're gonna have this on your show, right?
Yeah. It's kind of bizarre because it's a French show. I can play the English interviews, but I have to give a synopsis, and they prefer that I tell the audience what we went through. So
well, we can do the whole thing over again in French if you want.
No, that's okay.
Mon français est suivant. Ce n'est pas exactement complet, mais c'est quelque chose que tous vos entendeurs pourraient comprendre.
Oui, ça c'est vrai.
Right, spécialement aux provinces Nouveau-Écosse et Nouveau-Brunswick. Le français là est un peu touché par l'anglais, par l'anglais des îles d'Angleterre. Et un point encore. J'ai eu un conducteur quand j'ai joué au festival à Fredericton. Il a le surnom Thériault.
Ouais.
Est-ce que vous êtes le même homme?
No. We're probably... I'll say it in English because it's going to be quicker for me to say it. The Thériault tree that I'm from had 5 brothers. They started in Nova Scotia at the port where all the immigrants came through. And they made their way up the St. John River Valley all the way to the border, the I'd say probably a quarter up into Quebec. And I learned that my Thériault family line, the great grandfather that actually founded it.
Ils sont dans l'expulsion de l'Angleterre et vous avez des relatifs à Nouveau-Orléans.
Oh yeah, New Orleans, Mexico, where the Thériault name changes. There's various ways of saying it, but the most that I've heard in Mexico was Thériault. But it's not the same spelling because the spelling for them is OLT and mine's AULT.
Yeah. Oui, je comprends absolument. Je comprends tout de l'expulsion de
1705.
1805.
No, 1755. 1755 is when c'est en 1755, 1755, c'est l'année que les Acadiens ont été expulsés. Puis il y a des maps disponibles qui indiquent où ils ont actuellement été. La majorité d'eux se sont cachés avec les Amérindiens qu'on a localement, les Micmacs, les Malécites, pour essayer de retourner à leur terre, mais les Anglais les pognaient puis les envoyaient La majorité d'eux qui ont été envoyés à la France. Il y en a qui n'ont pas survécu, malheureusement, à cause du voyage.
Mais j'ai entendu de cet homme-là qui m'a conduit, qui a des relatifs à Nouveau-Orléans direct qu'il n'a jamais vu pour, just cette année. So it's been a great pleasure talking with you in English and in French.
Yes.
And vive le Canada,
Slim, thank you so much. I really wish that I could give you a big hug, but I can't. Virtually, though, I send you my love, my devotion, and my respect.
Les bras de moi aussi. Merci beaucoup. Merci sans limite. And if you need any more help, anything else you need, please contact me again.
Okay, no problem, Slim. Have a nice evening. Là, je trouve ce couvert-là parce que il peut vraiment pas ici.